Hi Quilt Roadies! Welcome, welcome. If you're new, thank you for stopping by. If you're a seasoned Quilt Roadie, we're here for another day of fun. I just found out from someone that commented on the Stitch Roadie video that told me something that I wasn't even thinking it through, and that is, if you check on your subscription by looking at the subscribe button, and if it doesn't say subscribed, then click it and you're subscribed. And if you hit the bell, it lets you know when I do another video. But if it doesn't say subscribed, then you're not subscribed, and I surely would appreciate if you would check and click on that. It has been a busy week here, as you saw at the beginning. The little gnome heart quilt. Let me just say, if you're new, I'm going to be babbling. Knowing that, I hate that ADHD has the word disorder in it. Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. I don't think of it as a disorder. And I don't even, this is truly a new evolution for me. It truly is a new evolution, because I used to just kind of be very have a lot of self-judgment about all my projects, all the things, keeping my checking account balance, all the little details that are just, to me, like, not fun. But this last year has, because we've had so much time to think and study and research and learn and understand about ourselves, that I no longer think of my attention as being a deficit or a disorder. In fact, it can be quite extraordinary. I would have never played a grand piano on stage had I not had this brain. I would have never ran a marathon if I didn't have this brain. I would have never climbed a mountain in South Korea had I not had this brain. So I think it's how we judge ourselves based on what the people out there think it is. And I'm over that. I'm over that. So what happened with the gnome quilt? Well, I hung out one day on the So Yeah Brothers on one of their YouTube sales and bought this kit. Now, I didn't remember I bought this kit until it arrived. And I'll show you the couple other things that I also purchased. But this kit, when the package arrived, I was like, what the heck? And then when I opened it up, I had this vague memory, oh yeah, I did buy that. And I started to, my brain immediately started going toward, I don't know if my brain or my heart, it started going to a place of judgment. But I've been practicing at stopping that in its tracks. And so what kicked in was, well, I have another kit, and I already have several kits. So rather than go to that judgment, I said, I'm going to just put this one together. Then it'll be done. And it won't be nagging at me. And I won't have any conversation about how much I have laying around here. And I hit that hyper-focused, in which I spent 2 days probably 5 hours each day totally on that quilt top. All of the little heart blocks are machine appliqued on, so I had to cut those hearts out, get them on the background, and then machine applique them. But I was just incredibly focused, and that is the part of what the professionals say happens with ADHD, is that you can have hyper-focused moments. And I think it's a gift because, wow, it was like 2 days and that top was done, and I was so excited, and it is so adorable. And now it has to be quilted, and I was thinking that I know exactly which baby, one of my cousins had a baby this last year, and I didn't get a quilt done. So I'm thinking, this is awful, awful sweet. So we'll just have to see once it's done. I don't know about you quilters, but when I'm making a quilt, very rarely am I making a quilt already knowing who it's going to. It's kind of like who it's going to is part of my process as I'm making it. And so it's always a joy. I mean, making quilts is always a joy. But didn't you think it was sweet? I mean, bees and gnomes all in one quilt. How could I not love that? I also, in that same package, received 2 other things. This was a panel, and this is from So Yeah. This is Riley Blake, and it's a breast cancer awareness panel. And I just thought, oh, I'll make it into like a couch blanket, or a couch blanket. And so it has all these pre-printed, 4 pre-printed cute, huh? I mean, cute, maybe that's not the word. Sweet. It's sweet. And I think if I could find, like I just want to set them in something plain and then find some warm, fuzzy pink minky for the back, that would be pretty awesome. Pretty awesome nap blanket. And then let me just grab this last thing. I love these. When you see a line of fabric that you like, but you're not quite sure what you're going to do to it, buying a charm pack can be really fun, because a charm pack, I have so many charm pack table runner patterns, and so this charm pack was Fields of Gold, and there's just, it's going to make a great table runner. I could even make a quilt out of this. Let me see if I can see what this is by Wilmington Prince. 5-carat crystals, Fields of Gold by Lisa Audit. Yeah, so that all came in the same package as the gnomes. Hope you have your stitching. I've got my binding here. I am binding away. I had some not very fun news about my this eye. They weren't sure if there was some kind of a detachment or scarring going on with my retina, so I have to go back on Monday and meet with a second doctor, and they have to take a closer examination, and so I'm I received a lot of support through the comments on Stitch Roadies, and I'm up for it. I want to get it taken care of. I have lots of sewing to get done, and so bummer is that I have an eye appointment and a dentist appointment all in the same day. Yeah, eye appointment. So that is my next week. I finished a book. Oh, I need a sip here. I'm eating popcorn. It is dry here. It is dry. High clouds, no fog. Patches of blue sky out there. Not very cold. And yeah, it's a decent day. It's a decent day. But I finished this book, Janet Ivanovich, Game On. These are nothing but a lighthearted laugh out loud. And it's a Stephanie Plum novel, so if you're familiar with that, Stephanie Plum is a bail bondsman, and there's just a whole lot of characters in the book. And it's kind of a lighthearted read. And so I just finished that, and now I've started crying in H Mart, which after the first chapter I'm like hooked. So this week, let's see, what did I do this week? I finished the top for that Gnome Quilt, and then this is one of my favorite peeps here, Michelle, Under the Woolen Willow, and I'll link her Etsy shop. She does all kinds of things. Pretty darn talented. But I had this book, which I loved. Oh, and these are her bookmarks. I just love her little bookmarks. And when I was reading it, I noticed that all the back are little things, motifs that are made from the pattern of this big penny mat, which is lovely. I mean, look at the gourds and pumpkins and stuff in that crow. That is just beautiful. And so I decided to whip up that A is for Acorn. And so here it is. Isn't that cute? And I lined it, so the way I do this is I lined my wool, my background wool, and my background with SF 101, and then I I fused my wool pieces on and I stitched it, and then I used this pen. Let's see what it's called. It's a Clover white marking pen, and I first heard about this from Lisa Bongian of Primitive Gatherings, that this is how she writes on wool, because it's a liquid, but it leaves a little bit of chalk marks so you can follow a little bit. And so I used that to do the writing, and then I embroidered and stitched my wool pieces down, and then I had some Lady Dot Creates Pom Poms. And the way I attach this, now, as I understand it, most people take the ribbon that the pom-poms are on off and they hand stitch it down. But I actually left the ribbon on, and when I layered right sides together, my back and my front, I inserted that ribbon in there, so when I sewed the two layers together, the ribbon got sewn in the seam, so I didn't have to go back and hand stitch it. And then when I turned it inside out, the little pom-poms were all there. And then I fused a little label. I had this opening is right here, which I stuffed my polyfill, and then I just, you know, fused, you know that thing, fused my label over the seam. So after I had sewn it closed. So yeah, so that book has all these other little projects in it that are so cute. So isn't that adorable? Yeah, that was one of those moments where, I pulled the book out and was just leafing through it, just, leafing through it, and I saw that pillow and immediately stood up and focused and got the whole thing cut out and stitched. And then this morning I got up and put the pillow together. What can I say? I love it when that happens. I mean, I know that having majored in behavioral psychology, I know that there is a lot of labeling that goes on. But some of those labels are amazing. I mean, they're not ones that you have to think negatively about yourself. They're just, oh, there's the sweetest little boy and dog taking a walk down the street. I love my little perch up here. I love my little perch. Yeah, so there you go. Back to binding. Back to binding. Yeah, I would like to get this binding someday done. Of course, this is a big honkin' quilt. I keep checking every day with that Cedar Ridge Quilt Shop because I really want to take that one class with the button Fantasia or Fantasy, or I really want to take that quilt class. Well, yeah, G and I were going to change out the fixtures in one bathroom sink, and we ordered it, and when it came, we realized that neither of us had the physical capacity to climb under and twist our head and neck to unscrew and screw in all the things that needed to be done. So I called someone who could do that, and actually got on their schedule this month, which was like, yahoo! That doesn't happen too often. So I was really happy about that. We've been pretty happy because Resident Alien, I don't know, we both enjoy that show. Resident Alien is back with a new season, and the Olympics are on, so television has improved for us, because there's really, boy, it's so hard to find something that you like. I did, at the suggestion of someone in the community, our community here on YouTube, start watching a YouTube channel called Green Renaissance. Oh my gosh. If you want to watch something that is going to make you feel better about the world, that's the one you want to watch. Green Renaissance. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. It is just awesome. Yeah, so far I've watched 3. We during our happy hour, we watch YouTube or listen to YouTube. And so we start off with Garrison Keillor's 5 Minutes in History. And that has been fascinating because there's just things I really had no clue about. Like, you know, my friend Ariane, she graduated from Parsons School of Design. And if you mean, you really know how talented as her ability to stitch, to create, if you go on to her YouTube, and I'll put the link down below, but she does, and runs a Facebook group. It's very, very artistic. It is absolutely, the things, if you join her Facebook group, the stitching that her community has created is truly stunning, absolutely stunning. But, so why did I get off on this? Okay, so the reason is that I was listening to Garrison Keillor's Today in History, and I'm thinking that it was the day we were listening, it was Norman Rockwell's birthday. And because each day, you know, sometimes he'll talk about somebody whose birthday is that day, and then he'll talk about them, you know, author or poet or whoever they are. You'd maybe you'd recognize them, maybe you wouldn't. But he was talking about Norman Rockwell, and Norman Rockwell graduated from the Parsons School of Design, which is where Ariane went to school. I need to call her up and talk to her about that. I had no clue about that, but she truly is an artist, and the Parsons School of Design has many artists of many different genres pass through them, not just painters, authors. What I like about that, just 5 minutes in history for that day, is that there's people that you recognize their name, or and then he expands on their history, which is anytime you can learn something more, it's a good thing, especially if it's a positive thing. So I saw on, I think it must have been on Facebook, there was a shop that was doing the boho heart block of the month. And then I remembered that I bought that kit. And I thought maybe that's how I should approach that. Instead of looking at it as like, oh man, I have to eat the whole cake, maybe I can do it just a block of the month by myself. And I was looking for some project, and I stumbled upon my urban wool block of the month that I had been doing with Primitive Gatherings, and I just love that. I love that one. There, it's just an awesome. And I think the thing about blocks of the month, you know, if you've all been hesitant about it, the thing about blocks of the month is whatever, okay, here's an enabling moment. So turn me off if you don't want to be enabled. Actually, don't turn me off. You need to be enabled. Because we can get in a rut. We can get in a quilting rut in terms of that we may like primitive and only do primitive quilts, or we may like brights or whatever, but mixing it up is good for a person. I actually read a comment today where someone in the Stitch Roadie community who's in their 80s loves to learn new things all the time. And it inspired me because there's things that I say, oh, I don't want to learn that. I don't want to learn that. I don't need another thing to learn. But really, it's good for you to learn new things. And it's good for you to step outside your box. And this block of the month, that urban block of the month that I had signed up for with Primitive Gatherings, the reason I signed up for it was because it was outside my box. I am not a blue person. I don't have a big stash of blue. I generally, that's not my go-to color. But there was something about this block of the month, even though it had this kind of blue overtone to it, that I thought, I just need to step outside my comfort box and just really pay attention to the experience. And so I did, and I love it, and I need to get back to it. I need to get back to it because when I was looking for something else, I stumbled on that, which I have been keeping track just for the month of January. Ooh, there goes someone who's running. Oh, I like seeing people run. So I have been, ooh, that thing is a big mamma jamma. Let me just make sure I don't lose my needle here. So I've been keeping track of my cross-stitching and my quilting world in this Fat Quarter Shop journal. And I have been making this journal, I've not been filling it out necessarily the way that they have it laid out. I've really turned it into something that fits how I want to keep track of something. But I am doing both my cross-stitch and my quilting in this. I probably already told you this. But I was surprised. I know in the past I've said, oh, I have so many things, I'm not getting them done. Well, in fact, I get a fair amount of things done. And by writing it down, it gave me a visual of what I was getting done. And so, like in my quilting world, let's see, I finished two things in January, and that's good. That's good, and it made me feel good to see them written down. And so in February, I'm going to again be putting down that I'm stitching on my binding, and I finished the gnome top, and I finished the acorn. So, you know, if you're a visual person, which many quilters are visual people because that's what we're inspired by, is what we see, having some place to write down and just reinforce how incredible you are is a good thing. My sound machine and not doing my devices at night, but actually reading a book has been a positive. I mean, I'm sleeping better. which is good. And I'm also, I mean, this is actually the first physical book that I've finished in over a year. I generally am this last year have been an audio book reader, but I realized when I read this book that the way I read a book is a little bit different, and I liked that skill of actually reading a physical book was still there, and that I went through and read it and got it done and enjoyed my whole way through. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to take quilt class, maybe have a quilting stitch go on, and it's going to be great to have the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. That is going to be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe next time we get together, I'll show you my urban quilt blocks by Primitive Gatherings. I do need to prep my gnome for March and get them stitched up, and I need to finish stitching my buttermilk basin home circle that goes on the pillow for March. I'm almost done with that, and then I will have to prep April's. It's so fun to have a plan. It makes you feel somewhat secure when you have a plan, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Okay, well, I could sit here and just babble all day about absolutely nothing. But I think I need to look at that boho hearts. I don't know. Okay, thank you for stopping by. See you next time. Take care. Be good to yourself. And we'll meet here again. Love you guys.